Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
The screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last lecture, we discussed about this first type of the relay, that is electromechanical relays. Now, after it was in 1900 and in 1901, this kind of relay came into being. Now, second relay, which is known as the static relay. This type of relay came in market in 1950s. You can say that in 1950s it came into market. So, if you take the case of this static type of relay, it has several advantages. Like if you see, as compared to that of this electromechanical type relays, it means that they have the low burden that we discussed in the last lecture. That is the load on the secondary of the CT is known as the burden. So this static relay has the low burden. We can have precise um, and complex characteristics by using this kind of relay, precise and complex characteristics by using this kind of relay. And the size of this relay is also very small. If you take the case of the size, it is also very small. So it has the small size as compared to the previous generation, that is electromechanical relays. However, if you take the case of the cost of this kind of relay, you can say that the disadvantage is that is the cost. So cost of this relay is high, and that is the biggest disadvantage of this kind of relay, because they use the semiconductor device components. And however, the problem with these kind of relays is that its performance is affected by the performance of this kind of relay is actually affected by the temperature variations. So it is affected by the temperature variations and the mechanical vibrations. And mechanical vibrations. So such type of relay, you can say in these type of relays, that is static relays, a DC power supply is also required. So we have to provide the separate supply for that. So DC power supply is also required for that. So we have to provide the separate this supply for that if the working of this relay is required or it is used in the substation. Now this is the second type of relay. Now the third type of the relay is actually the microprocessor based relay. Third type of relay is known as the microprocessor based relay. Third type of relay is actually the microprocessor based relay. So it is the microprocessor based relay. There are certain advantages of this microprocessor. So first we discussed that when this microprocessor based came into being, it came in 1970s. So static relay came in the 1950s, and this microprocessor it came in 1970s, and that electromechanical relay it came in 1901. The main advantage of this kind of relay is that it provide many functions. So advantages, it provide many functions, and that is multiple setting groups. That is, you can have the multiple settings in that. Then you have programmable logic. Then you will have adaptive logic. Then you will have self-monitoring. Then you will have self-testing. Then after that, you will have ability to control, ability to communicate. Self-testing. After self-testing, you will have ability to communicate with other relays and control computers. With other relays and control computers. Now we can discuss this one by one. So multiple setting groups, that it means that it will have multiple settings, that is more than one input. If suppose we have, you can say that so setting group means that if the microprocessor relay, this kind of relay is available with us, then it provides two type of setting groups. That is, let us suppose that we have the relay, then two type of setting group is available with us. One is the group 1 and second one is the group 2. One is the group 1 and second one is the group 2. So it has multiple settings. If you take the case of the group 1, let us suppose that it has this have multiple settings connected to some other functions. That is, in group 1 you have several functions, and group 2 type of settings you have several functions. So if you see, whenever you install such type of relay in the substation, generally first type of group is for the utilities, and the second is meant for the backup. So first is for the utilities and second is for backup. So multiple outputs are available from this kind of relay, so that's called the multiple setting groups. Now second is the programmable logic. As you already know the fact, so second is the programmable logic. So that means that you can develop your own logic. You can develop your own logic. Even that logic can be adaptive in nature. So whatever type of function you want to develop or wish to develop, you can simply develop, and whatever type of characteristics you want, you can develop by using such type of logic. So you can develop your own programmable logic. Suppose you think something, or it depends on an experience of this protection engineer, that this kind of protection is required, so he can develop that. Now next is he can also develop the this, you can say, that adaptive logic, and that is programmable logic and the adaptive logic. So now next, if you see, the other feature is known as the self-monitoring and self-testing. And now what we do, we know that whenever we install any relay in the substation, then these relays are going to operate only when the fault occurs. So we do not know at what instant the fault occurs. Sometimes fault may occur maybe multiple times in a month, or sometimes it may not happen in a year. So periodically, you can say we need to carry out the testing of these type of relays. So in earlier generation of the relays, that is the electromechanical that we have discussed, are the static relays. We have to test the relays separately. So previous relays, we have to test it. So we have to test these kind of relays every 15 days or once in a month by using some external circuits. So, or in a month, using some this external circuit. However, if you take the case of microprocessor type of relay, they do not require the separate external circuitry and self-monitoring and self-testing, because they have their own such type of feature. So they are capable of testing all kind of functions by themselves. So this is the main advantage of this type of relay. So it means that they are capable of self-testing. So the next type of next is so they are capable of self testing. The another advantage of the relay is the ability to communicate with other relay and other computers. Please mute your mic. They are capable of self-testing. Other advantages that is to communicate with the other relay and other computers also. So if you want to send some logic or some command to the other relay that is situated very far from the substation, then also such type of relay is used. So the second advantage of the if you take this is actually the first advantage that we have discussed. That is the multiple setting group, programmable logic, then adaptive logic, self-monitoring, self-testing ability to communicate with the other relays and the control components. Now, the second type of advantage is that the cost per function. If you take the case of a second advantage, Anuj, mute yourself. Now, second type of this advantage of this kind of relay is the cost per function. That is cost per function of microprocessor based relay of microprocessor based relay is lower as compared to the cost of electromechanical and solid state relays, as compared to previous generation relays. So the cost per function in that very case, this is lower as compared to that of the previous generation relays. Now, what is mean by the cost per function? Suppose if we want some electromechanical relay and we use, let us say that a static type of relay. If we want to have some specific type of characteristics in that particular relay, so like we want the inverse characteristic or the highly inverse characteristics in that. So I have to make the relay like that. So what we have to do, we have to buy another relay if we are considering the electromechanical and this kind of static relay. If I want this, suppose extremely inverse characteristics are required, so we have to purchase the new relay. However, in case of microprocessor relay, all type of characteristics is available in this relay, and by using the logic we can make this kind of we can create that. Now the third advantage of microprocessor relay is that allow user to allow users to develop their own logic schemes, including dynamic changes in that logic. So what do you mean by that? So that they can develop their own logic. Even you can carry out some dynamic changes in that logic. That means that at the time of working, if you wish to carry out some change in that, then that type of changes can be done in this type of relay, that is in the microprocessor based relay. However, which is not possible in electromechanical and static type of relays, because in that very case you have to purchase some new relay in that. Now, after that, we have some of the other advantages of this kind of microprocessor based relay, which I will discuss only brief in that. That is, it has the less burden, like in the static relay. It has the less burden. You can say that the burden is less. It means that that is the load on the CT is also less. You can say that the less burden. So less burden in that as compared to the previous generation relays. So if let us suppose that if the burden of these electromechanical and static relays is 30 volt ampere and 20 volt ampere, then in that very case, the burden of this kind of microprocessor based relay is nearly about 5 volt ampere and 1 volt ampere. So next, you can say that it required less space. So that is also one of the advantage. So it required less space, less panel space compared with the electromechanical or solid-state relay. So it means that if I want to use it in substation, then I have the limited space in that, and I can accommodate the multiple type of this kind of microprocessor based relays in that very case. So now other advantage of this kind of relay is they have the reporting feature. That is, they have reporting feature. So what do you mean by reporting feature? So let us suppose that any abnormal condition take place. Any abnormal condition takes place, then this type of event that is captured by that particular relay, and you can play back such type of event, or you can visualize that event. It can be available, you can say graphically, and you can access the data in any form in that very case. You can that data is available in the text form or in other form. So, however, if you see that this kind of a relay, though it is very, it has many advantages. However, it is not free of disadvantages. It has certain disadvantages also. So, it has certain disadvantages. So first disadvantage is that they are susceptible to the phenomena like electromagnetic interference. They are susceptible to electromagnetic interference or the radio frequency interference. Radio frequency in interfering. So it's such type of interference is there, and then you install this type of relay, then they may have fair chances of maloperation of such type of relays. But the second disadvantage is that they have a short life cycles. So, for example, if operating system that we are utilizing is computers, in that we know that operating system changes frequently. So every 6 months we have another type of operating system in that. So even if we if we are familiar with this type of relay or operating system, then after some months or after some years, then another version is available with us. So you can say that it has the shortest this lifespan. So this happens with every version of the microprocessor based relay. That is every new some technology is coming into way, and then this new type of relay is always coming into picture with the new type of settings. So it has the shortage, short lifespan. Now the next is that it has a third disadvantage, that it has large number of settings. It has a large number of settings. So if I want to carry it, means I want to understand what type of test I want to manage those settings, or I want to carry out some functionality test in that, then it is very difficult to understand such type of settings. So particularly whenever the manufacturers or whatever other manufacturers are there, they are using the some special setting techniques. Whatever the relay we have in our labs, if you see, they have a very complex type of setting. So we have to make one setting for one practical. So it's also one of the, you can say, complexity is involved in that. So that is the disadvantage. So it means that if at the time of testing, suppose I am conducting functionality test, I want to test the functionality of this, and I want to manage settings, that what they do is they simply enable or disable several features of microprocessor based relay, and then perform the functionality test of such type of relay. So you can say that this type of relay want to manage the settings, and it's very difficult. So it's a kind of complex structure, you can say. It's a complex type of structure. Now, next is the digital relay. Digital or numerical relays. So the digital or the numerical relays, it came into market in 1975. It came into market in 1975, and they are very, they have very special functions as compared to that. You can say that previous generation of relays, and they have mathematical functions also. So there are different mathematical functions are also available in that. Now, so main advantage of this kind of relay is that is they can realize some very useful functions. They can realize some of the very useful functions that is which is not possible in previous generation relays. In previous generation relays, like mathematical functions and long-term storage and pre-fault data. So they have some this kind of special functions, that is long-term storage of the pre-filed data. So they have and the best point is that they have the functions or the features of the microprocessor based relay. Now next, other is the adaptive relay. Adaptive relay. And the philosophy of this relay, it was presented in 1989. The philosophy of this kind of relay was presented in 1989, and so the question arises that why there is a need of adaptive relay. So we know that all the settings that is carried out or performed on the relays available in the substation, those settings change only when there is a huge change in the system configuration or external system problem is there. So you can say that if you want to change the such kind of settings or configurations, it requires high degree of professionalism as far as this production engineer is concerned. So relay settings, which are carried, and usually they carry out the relay setting for the worst cases. We have to take into consideration the worst case scenario. So whatever setting you have done for the worst case, those settings are lower for the other type of cases. So for other type of cases, which is not the worst case scenarios, you will have the slow speed, low sensitivity, and the poor selectivity. So what is there? What is the, you can say that it has the you can say that fixed operating point. You can say that this kind of previous relays, they have the fixed operating point. Now, what you have to, if you take the case of the settings we have done for the worst case scenarios. We have considered for the worst case scenarios in the previous relays. So we have considered the worst case scenario settings. So, and if you want to change the settings of that, then you need the high degree of understanding of that of whole of the system. Like if you take the case that if some kind of settings we have done for some fault, and some other fault which is not the worst kind of fault, we need some other kind of setting. So the philosophy of this kind of relaying, it was presented in 1989. So this you can say that the fixed operating characteristic of the relay may not be able to give the this required speed in that selectivity, sensitivity on all other operating conditions of the protective systems. So now the question arises that why the adaptive relaying? So it means that the relay engineers have dreamed that the relay could adapt to the system changes. So relay system changes, and with the development of, you can say, that high-speed microprocessors and the new tools for signal processing and digital communication, this dream is turning to be true. Now, the idea of this modifying the relay settings was proposed by some of the researchers. It was proposed by the researchers, by a researcher's name LiCo. And in 1967, and later in 1989, it was presented by G.D. Rockefeller and A.G. Fadke. So it was presented in 1989, this idea. So you can say that different researchers have given the different type of definitions what is adaptive protection, and this all these definitions it will give the same facts in different forms. You can say that adaptive relaying is nothing. You can say that it is nothing but changing the parameters or functions automatically. Changing the parameters and functions automatically depending upon the prevailing conditions or requirements. That is, it will adapt to the prevailing conditions. So it will adapt to the prevailing condition. This adaptive relaying, you can say that this philosophy can be made fully effective only with the digital computer-based relays. So it means that with the changing of the system parameters, the relaying settings will also change. However, there is no human intervention in that. It is done. It can be done. That can be done automatically. So. However, if you take the case of this adaptive based kind of relay, so these are not manufactured by any manufacturers. They are under research stage. Nowadays, what the utilities are using, the utilities are actually using the numerical based relays. The utilities are using the numerical based relays. So these are actually using the numerical based relays. Now, even though if you take the case of any system, and if you take the case of that, any fast relay would be, however, the operating time of all the breakers would be equals to, you can say, nearly 3 to 5 cycles. So operating time of all the breakers would be 3 to 5 cycles, whatever the relay we are using. Now, if you take the case of this adaptive type of relaying scheme, you can use the artificial intelligence nowadays. So it's not available, it's not manufactured, but it's in research state, these adaptive kind of relays. However, whatever we are using nowadays is the numerical based relays. Now, the next is the intelligent electronic devices, which is also known as the IED, intelligent electronic devices. So intelligent electronic devices. So what is the advantage of this kind of device? That is, it has the capabilities of protection. It has the capabilities of monitoring. And it has the control, measurement, and communication. It has the capability of control, measurement, and communication. So it has the capabilities of protection, monitoring, control, measurement, and this communication. So you can say that everything is available in this kind of relay. So this type of typical IED relay, you can say that it contains many protection functions and control function, controlling devices, auto recloser function, self-monitoring function, communication, and etc. You can say that for the standard is concerned, so these are designed to support. These are designed to support IEC 61850 standard. This standard is actually the standard for substation automation. So, which is the standard for the substation automation? So this standard is actually the standard for the substation automation, that is IEC 61850. So which provides what this standard provides? It provides, you can say that it provides the advanced communication capabilities. It provides the advanced communication capabilities and interoperability. So it will also provide the interoperability. Now the question arises: what is an interoperability? That we can also discuss. That what is the interoperability in case of the relays? Now, if you let us suppose that we have let us suppose that there is a substation. We can have the, let us suppose that we can have the substation, and in the substation, I am the charge of the substation, and I purchased through some tender one relay that is manufactured by company X. That is manufactured by company X. Now, there are many other companies who are manufacturing such type of relays, like you have ABB, you have the GE, Schneider, etc. So these are the companies which are manufacturing that. Now, let us suppose that I purchase a specific type of manufacturer relay, that I install it for 2 years. Let us suppose I have installed that relay X. Now, after 2 years, I purchased another relay and installed in the substation that is of some other manufacturer, that the manufacturer is the Y manufacturer in that. So now the question comes, how one relay can communicate, that is how this X relay can communicate with the Y relay. How it can communicate, because they are from different manufacturers and each manufacturer has their own logic. And they do not give their logic because you can say that it is against the privacy or plagiarism. They have their own product, so you cannot communicate. It is not able to communicate with these kind of relays, and they will not give the logic to one company. Will not give the logic to another company. So that means that I want the interoperability between these two different manufacturers. Then I have to design certain protocols or logic. So for the interoperability, so what I have to do, I have to design certain protocols and logics. Certain protocols and logic. So IEEE and IEC, they actually have designed a protocol. They have designed one protocol. They have designed one protocol which is known as the substation automation protocol. which is known as the substation automation protocol, and that we discussed, that is 61850. So that is the protocol. So these protocols are designed, you can say that these were designed in 2005, and later on they were amended in 2011, and then also 2015. So nowadays, if any manufacturer is manufacturing this intelligent electronic devices, then in that very case, these are compatible with these protocol, that is 61850. So these are the protocols, and this is also known as the interoperability. So all these IDs that we manufacture, these are manufactured by all the manufacturers. They are compatible with this IEC 61850 protocol, and special function that is performed by this IET is that is, for example, they have the feature like auto reclosing function, self-monitoring, and communication facilities. So this is all about you can say a different type of this relays. Then let's have this quick recap of all the things. So we have static relays. It came in 1950s, and it requires the DC power supply. That is the disadvantage of that. These are actually complex. However, the size is reduced. Some of the disadvantages, the cost is increased. However, they are temperature. It changes with that. The dysfunction changes with the variation in temperature and mechanical vibrations. Now, after that, the microprocessor-based relay, it came into 1970s. Many functions performed by that they have the multiple setting groups, programmable logics. That is, we can develop their own logic, adaptive logic. You can self-monitoring and self-testing. That is this testing needs to be done every 15 days or 1 month for every type of relay. So it self-tests that by using certain circuits and ability to communicate with the other relays and control computers. Now, the cost per function of the microprocessor-based relay is lower as compared to the previous generation relays. I mean, that is, whatever the function we are required, per function, the cost is very less. It allows users to develop their own logic. Users can develop their own logic, including the dynamic changes in the logic, and they can change the logic while it is in operation. It has a less burden also and required less space, and it has a reporting feature also. Whenever the abnormal condition is there, definitely it will give the signal to concern. So the disadvantage is that it is susceptible to this electromagnetic interference, low radio interference. Then it has the short lifespan cycles. So it has a large number of settings also. Short life cycles are because of that the technology keeps on changing. Then digital of numerical relays, it came into being in 1975. It relies some of the very useful functions, which is not possible in the previous generation relays, like mathematical functions, long-term storage of the data, and the features of microprocessor-based relays are also available. Then we have the adaptive relay. It came into 1989. However, it is in the conceptual. What we do, it is in conceptual stage only, and it was given by one researcher in 1965 by Daileco, and then that concept was given by G.D. Rockefeller and A.G. Fodkin in 1989. However, the adaptive relay, the idea of this adaptive relay is that whenever the system condition changes, the relay settings will also change. That is, you can use the artificial intelligence also nowadays in that. So then we have the numerical based relays. Numerical based relays generally utilizers are using that. Then after that we have the intelligent you can say the intelligent electronic devices. It actually perform the function of this intelligent electronic devices. It perform the function of that is protection, monitoring, control, measurement, and the communication. And it is also designed to support IEC C61850 for interoperability. Then we have discussed the interoperability. That is, these are actually, if you want, we have the two relays and we want the two relays to communicate with each other. So IEEE and IEC has developed the one protocol, which is known as the substation automation protocol. That is IEC 61850. And based on that protocol, all the relays are can communicate with each other. However, because of this patent concerns and all these will not, this you can say the manufacturers will not give any information or logic in that very case. So this is about the whole of this. You can say that types of the relay. Now, any questions related to that?